Imagine a world where the sun is just a memory. That is life on Terra Prime. It is a rock floating in the dark. The people there are miners. They dig for heat. They dig for light. It is a hard life. The dust gets everywhere. It gets in your hair. It gets in your food. Even the water tastes like old pennies. But the people of Terra Prime are tough. They have to be. One day, something changed. The sky above the mining town of Oakhaven ripped open. It was not an explosion. There was no fire. It was a bloom of violet light. It looked like a bruise on the night sky. The miners stopped their drills. They looked up in fear. The light did not fade. It swirled. It grew. It was a new neighbor in the void. A black hole had parked itself right above them. Most people ran for the shelters. They locked their doors. They prayed to the starborn spirits. But one child did not run. Her name was Mira. She was 12 years old. She was small for her age, but she had eyes that saw too much. While the town panicked, Mira stood still. She tilted her head. She listened. The black hole was not silent to her. It was singing. It was a low sound. It was like a cello played in a deep cave. The melody drifted through the recycled air. It slipped past the heavy blast doors. It found Mira in her dreams that night. She woke up sweating. The song was calling her name. It was not a scary sound. It felt lonely. It felt like a heart beating in the dark. Mira looked at her window. The violet light washed over her room. Her mother slept in the next bed. Her mother was sick. The dust had settled in her lungs. Mira pulled her blanket tight. She knew she could not ignore the song. The void was waiting. It had something to say, and it seemed only she could hear it. Experts think the anomaly is dangerous. They call it a rogue singularity. They say it will eat the planet. The town council held emergency meetings. They shouted over charts and graphs. They pointed at the violet swirl. They spoke of gravity wells. They spoke of event horizons. But they did not speak of the hum. To them, the black hole was a monster. It was a silent beast coming to feed. But Mira knew better. She walked through the town square. The panic was thick. You could taste the fear in the air. It tasted worse than the synthetic coffee. And believe me, that coffee is terrible. Mira walked past the shouting adults. She slipped away from the crowds. She followed the sound in her head. It grew louder with every step. It pulled her toward the edge of town. There was an old tower there. It was a relic from the first settlers. It was called the Watcher's Spire. The tower was forbidden. It was falling apart. Rust covered its metal bones, but the song was strongest there. It vibrated in Mira's teeth. She pushed open the heavy door. The hinges screamed. Dust danced in the violet light. She climbed the stairs. Her boots clanged on the metal steps. Up she went. The air grew cold. The hum became a physical weight. It pressed against her chest. It was not crushing her. It was hugging her. She reached the top room. It was full of old machines. This was where the first experts watched the stars. The room was a graveyard of tech. Screens were cracked. Wires hung like vines. But one terminal was flickering. It was an ancient thing. It hummed in time with the black hole. Mira approached it. She wiped the dust from the screen. Green text scrolled by. It was not code. It was a journal. She read the entries. They were written centuries ago. They were written by a founder. The founder spoke of a bargain. He spoke of a trade made with the void. Mira frowned. A trade? How do you trade with gravity? She found a sketch on the desk. It was drawn on real paper. That was rare. The paper was yellow and brittle. It showed a child. The child was holding out a hand. In the hand was a small light. Above the child was a dark circle. The circle was taking the light. Mira turned the paper over. There was a note. It was written in shaky handwriting. It said, "The void hungers, but it does not hunger for matter. It hungers for meaning. It wants connection. It wants a promise." This changed everything. The adults were wrong. You cannot fight a black hole with lasers. You cannot scare it away. You have to talk to it. You have to make a deal. Mira looked out the window. The violet eyes stared back. It was waiting for her move. She knew where she had to go next. She needed wisdom. She needed to speak to the elder ones. They lived in the deep caves. They were the keepers of old stories. They were the only ones who might understand. The journey to the caves was long. Mira took a rover. She drove fast. The wheels kicked up gray dust. The rover bounced over rocks. It rattled like a tin can full of bolts. She reached the cave entrance. It was guarded by stone statues. They looked like star-born warriors. She went inside. The air was cool and damp. It smelled of moss and thyme. The elder ones sat in a circle. Their robes were dark. Their faces were lined with age. They did not look surprised to see her. "We heard the song too," one said. His voice was like grinding rocks. "But we are too old to answer." Mira stepped forward. She was not afraid. "I read the journal," she said. "I know about the bargain." The elders exchanged looks. One of them sighed. "The bargain is dangerous, child. It rewrites gravity. It trades a piece of your soul for a miracle." "My mother is dying," Mira said. Her voice did not shake. "The town is dying. We need a miracle." "Balance is the law," another elder said. "Hunger and hope must weigh the same. If you offer too little, the void takes all. If you offer too much, you lose yourself." Mira nodded. She understood the risk. "I have nothing to lose," she said. That was not quite true, but it felt true in the moment. "Then go," the lead elder said. "Go to the portal's edge, but be warned. The void is a tricky merchant. It will try to cheat you." Mira left the caves. Her heart was beating fast. She drove the rover to the launch pad. The portal's edge was a high platform. It was used for cargo ships. Now it was empty. The ships had all fled. She parked the rover. The wind was howling. It pulled at her clothes. The gravity felt wrong here. It felt heavy and light at the same time. Space was stretching. It was like a thin skin pulled too tight. Mira walked to the end of the platform. The black hole was huge now. It filled her vision. It was a whirlpool of violet and black. It pulsed. Thump, thump. It was inviting her. She stood on the metal grating. Below her was a drop into nothing. Ahead of her was the end of everything. She felt small. She felt like a speck of dust, but she stood tall. She closed her eyes. She let the song fill her mind. "I am here," she whispered. The wind stopped. The sound stopped. The world held its breath. The void was listening. "I have come to trade," Mira said. Her voice was louder now. She opened her eyes. The violet light swirled faster. It formed a shape. It looked like a giant eye. It blinked. Mira thought of her mother. She thought of the cough that shook her mother's frame. She thought of the gray skin. She felt a sharp pain in her chest. It was love. It was grief. "I want her to live," Mira said. "That is my wish." The void shivered. It absorbed her words. It sucked the sound right out of the air. It felt cold. A chill ran down Mira's spine. The black hole did not care about one life. It was too big. It was too old. Then the darkness spoke back. It did not use words. It used images. It pushed a picture into Mira's mind. It showed her the town. It showed Oakhaven bathed in light. It showed the mines full of gold. It showed the people rich and fat. "I can give you this," the shadow whispered. "I can give you endless light. I can make your people kings." Mira paused. It was a tempting offer. No more hunger. No more dust. Her friends would be happy. The town would be saved. But she looked closely at the image. The people were smiling, but their eyes were empty. There was no life in them. They were just puppets. "No," Mira said. She stepped back. "That is a trick. That is not life. That is just a shiny cage." The void rumbled. It did not like being refused. The platform shook. Metal groaned. The gravity pulled harder. Mira grabbed a railing. Her knuckles turned white. "I know what you are," she yelled. "You are lonely. You want a connection. You do not want slaves." This was a gamble. Mira was betting her life on a hunch. She was betting on the journal. The experts said the void was a killer. But the journal said it was a traitor. Traitors want value. Puppets have no value. "I am not a puppet," Mira shouted. "I am Mira. I am a child of Terra Prime, and I have something you do not." The rumbling stopped. The eye widened. It was curious. "I have a name," Mira said. I have a story. You are just a hole in the sky. You have nothing but hunger. The black hole rippled, what was testing her courage. It wanted to see if she would break. Mira let go of the railing. She stood unsupported. She let the gravity tug at her. She did not fall. I demand a fair price, she said. I want my people to breathe. I want real air. I want real sun. And I want my mother to see it. The void was silent. Then it began to spin. It spun faster and faster. The violet light turned white. A narrow gate opened in the center. It was a tunnel. It swirled with star-born dust. It looked like a path made of diamonds. Mira knew what she had to do. She had to go in. She had to seal the deal in person. This was the terrifying part. It is one thing to shout at the sky. It is another to walk into it. She took a breath. It tasted of ozone and fear. She stepped off the platform. She did not fall down. She fell forward. The tunnel caught her. She floated. Time began to peel away. It felt like layers of skin shedding. Minutes became hours. Hours became seconds. She saw stars born. She saw stars die. It was beautiful. It was terrifying. It was faster than a politician's promise. She landed on a floor made of glass. Or maybe it was ice. It was hard to tell. She was inside the singularity. But it was not dark. It was bright. The light came from everywhere. Mira stood up. She looked around. The air hummed with 1,000 voices. It was a chorus. They were singing in quiet harmony. These were the forgotten hopes. These were the wishes of worlds long gone. The music steadied her heart. She felt calm. She walked forward. A figure formed in the light. It had no face. It was made of shifting stars. "You are brave," the figure said. Its voice sounded like Mira's own thoughts. "You bring a strong will." "I bring a trade," Mira said. She held out her empty hands. "I have nothing physical to give, but I have a promise." The figure drifted closer. "We eat promises," it said. "What is yours?" Mira took a deep breath. This was the secret she had kept. "I promise to remember," she said. "I promise that my people will never forget this gift. We will tell your story. We will make you real." The figure paused. Memory is powerful. For a being that lives forever, being forgotten is the only death. The void existed, but no one knew it. No one understood it. Mira was offering legacy. She was offering meaning. "A fair price," the figure said. "We accept." The light flared. It was blinding. Mira felt a surge of energy. It rushed through her veins. It felt like warm sunlight. The bargain was struck. The village would get a new sunrise. "Go," the figure said, "before the gate closes." Mira turned. The tunnel was collapsing. It was shrinking like a drying flower. She had to run. She scrambled back the way she came. The floor tilted. She was climbing now. She climbed up the tunnel of light. Gravity fought her. It tried to pull her back. It wanted to keep her. But she had the seed of starlight in her palm. She could feel it burning. It gave her strength. She clawed her way out. Her fingers scraped the metal of the platform. She pulled herself up. She rolled onto the grating. She gasped for air. Behind her, the tunnel snapped shut. The black hole let out one last hum. Then it was silent. The violet light began to fade. It was shrinking. Mira lay on the platform. She was exhausted. She fell asleep right there on the cold metal. She woke up to heat on her face. It was a strange sensation. It was warm. She opened her eyes. She blinked. Dawn was splintering across the hills. But it was not the gray dawn of Terra Prime. It was golden. The light was rich and thick. It bathed the homes in golden fire. Mira stood up. She looked at the sky. The black hole was gone. In its place was a small, stable sun. It was a gift. It was the other end of the bargain. She ran back to the rover. She drove to the village. The miners were coming out of their homes. They looked confused. They looked scared. Then they looked up. Smiles broke out on their faces. It was slow at first. Then it was everyone. They laughed. They cried. They took deep breaths. The air was fresh. The dust was gone. The new sun had burned it away. Mira ran to her house. She burst into the room. Her mother was sitting up in bed. The gray color was gone from her skin. She looked tired, but she was breathing. She was alive. Mira, her mother said, look at the light. I see it, Mira said. She hugged her mother. She cried. Life on Terra Prime changed. The mines closed. People started planting gardens. The soil was warm now. Green things grew. It was a paradise. But the echoes remained. At night, the sky was clear. You could see the stars. And if you listened closely, you could hear a hum. It was the black hole's soft lullaby. It was a reminder. Every night, the village lit a lantern. They placed it in the square. It was a signal. It was their part of the deal. They were remembering. Mira often sat by the lantern. She watched the stars. Her eyes were bright. She was not just a child anymore. She was the broker of gravity. She was the girl who spoke to the dark. Stories of the brave child spread. They jumped from ship to ship. They traveled across the galaxy. People told the tale of the girl who bartered with a black hole. Other worlds listened. Other children looked at the sky. They wondered what was listening back. The universe is full of monsters. But sometimes, those monsters are just lonely. They are waiting for a trade. The universe listens. It is waiting for the next whisper. It is waiting for you to be brave. So look up, speak your truth. You never know who might answer. And that, my friends, is how you rewrite the stars. You don't use a laser, you use a promise. And maybe, just maybe, a little bit of courage. End of story. But for Mira, it was just the beginning. And for you? Well, the sky is big. Good luck.